This is a production of KMmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show... First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to a wonderful Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on KIXI. And I hope that everybody's well. I hope you'll stay for the entire show. We've got a good one for you today, I think. And we're going to be talking about something that, and a couple of people that are very gifted at this. And we're going to be talking about energy, which is a scientific term these days. And we're going to be talking about how energy can be applied to our lives and what we do. And also a retreat that they have that's going to be coming up in the new year. And so we're going to talk about all of that. But before we go there, we want to talk to Eric. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. Happy Friday, Kevin.
It is a nice Friday, and the weather's not too bad. I understand we're going to have fits and sprinkles and stuff over the weekend.
Yeah, mostly just cloudy skies and temperatures in the 60s, but not too shabby for the end of October.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gosh, can you believe it's the end of October already?
I know. It's crazy. Time is flying.
It is indeed, and pretty soon we're going to see Thanksgiving stuff out there in the stores, and then when right after Halloween we'll have Christmas and Thanksgiving. It's just amazing how time flies.
I think they've already got the Christmas stuff in the stores. The Thanksgiving stuff, I don't know if they even carry that anymore, except for big pans for your turkeys.
And they've got Christmas stuff out in the stores already. It's so crazy. It is just so crazy. And some of them are, I don't know. It's story for another time. We've got a great show for you today. And Eric, I want to thank you, and I want to thank the folks at KIXI, you being, of course, program director, of letting Positive Talk be here every Friday at 3 o'clock, which is a compliment to the other shows that we do on KKNW on Monday at 3, Wednesday at 4, and Friday at noon. I had to remember that. That's hard for me.
Got it.
And so we're here 4 days a week. And so I hope that you're able to catch us in all of our glory in any of those times, because we really do have some very interesting guests and some interesting concepts that we like talking to you about. So given that, I know we have one member of our duo here.
We've got both members of the duo.
Oh, very nice. Then why don't we go ahead and bring them on now? And Caroline, Paradis, and Chel are here. Chel Baignard. Is that right, Chel?
It's Baignard.
Dang it. It's French. I knew it. And in any event, it's great to have the two of you here. And thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, the last time, I'm so sorry, Chel, the last time that we were going to get together, you were not feeling well, which has its downside because you weren't feeling well, and also the upside because we got a chance to talk to Caroline for the show, and she was just spectacular. Did you listen to the show at all?
I had trouble finding it after it aired, so no, I didn't, but I know she's fabulous, and I have complete trust in how that went.
Very good. Very good. So I wanted to ask, well, let's start by saying that both of you work with energy a great deal. You're both Reiki masters, and you both do other aspects of energy work with your clients. But first of all, I guess since Caroline, we told your story, and you can always go to positivetalkradio.net. That's where her podcast resides, or you can go to YouTube, the Positive Talk Radio, Positive Talk Radio channel, and you can see her in all of her glory on YouTube. So I encourage you to do that. We have over 630 shows up, and we're just skipping right along. And so, Chel, how did you begin? How did your work begin? Deciding to work with energy? Was it a moment? Was it a evolution of you, or how, or was it like an angel came down and tapped you on the wand with its, tapped you on the head with its wand, and suddenly you were who you are today?
It was actually all three of those things.
Oh, good. I hit them all.
You did amazingly. So I believe even if it seems like a moment to anyone, when something happens, it's always an evolution getting there. So it was definitely an evolution. I had a spiritual journey of about a decade. And then it was also a moment because I was actually in a class that Caroline taught for Reiki 1. And during the attunements for that course, a lot of I's were dotted and T's were crossed. And that seemed like a moment. But it all began actually with an angel visiting me in the hospital when I had a car accident. So all three.
Well, I hope that the car accident wasn't too bad.
It was okay. I'm fine. I'm here. And the angel was there to tell me that I was not meant to leave.
Good, good, because we're glad to have you. The
Thank
world
you. I'm
would be,
happy to be here.
as is true with every human that walks the face of the planet Earth. The world would be less without you in it.
Absolutely.
And Caroline, you obviously you were teaching a Reiki class for Chel, so your journey started apparently a little bit earlier in your life.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because, yes, my Reiki journey did start before hers, but her spiritual journey started before mine. And Chel is really the one that opened my eyes to, a lot of the things that I subscribe to now. And made me realize there's a lot more to life than what I had originally understood. And so she really started her journey, and then she said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm learning," and then we kind of started walking the path together. But I always think of Chel as my teacher, even though technically I was her Reiki teacher. I constantly say that she's my teacher because she's always opening my eyes to things in terms of energy and spirituality and all of those things. So we're very much hand in hand in so many parts of our journeys.
So did you meet each other before you were going on this path, or somewhere in there that this path was opening up for you that you guys met?
Oh, you have to have Chel tell this because I love the way she tells the story.
No, Chel, you're on the spot.
No problem. I love this story too. We actually met in college, and we were both in a communications class that was an interpersonal communications class. And in college, I was dark and moody, and Caroline is much like she is today, bubbly and bright. And we sat in the same row. She was in the first seat, and I was in the last seat. And I was the type of person that would never, ever be caught in the front row. I would always be in the back row. And she was the type of person that would never be in the back row. So we didn't really have any interest or desire or opportunity to speak to one another during the course. But I think we both noted each other. And then towards the end of the semester, we actually were paired up for an exercise where we were supposed to be back to back and communicate without words. And I thought, oh no, I've got to be with this blonde, happy cheerleader. Oh, what am I going to do? And we actually nailed that exercise so much that both of us were like, what is happening here? Because it just belied a connection that, I don't think either of us saw until that moment. And then I had been working, so the semester ended. We didn't exchange numbers or speak after that. And then I was going back to work at a hotel where I had previously worked. And I was coming in to get my uniform before my first shift started. And behind the front desk was Caroline. And I was like, you work here? And she's like, yeah, who are you? And I'm like, I'm the one starting. She's like, you're the one starting? I've heard all about you. So our paths crossed again as they were meant to, because we didn't take the first opportunity we were given. And then on our first shift together, we just clicked, and we've been inseparable for nearly 25 years.
Well, I got to ask the two of you, when you were in college and you were going to do an exercise that you were back to back and you were supposed to communicate without words, how did you communicate?
Do you remember the details?
I honestly don't. I don't remember. I don't know if it was, I mean, it couldn't have been hand signals because we were, not facing each other. I don't remember how. And as you were telling the story, I was asking myself the same question, Kevin. I was like, how did we do that? But there was some method to it, and we nailed it. And it was very surprising to both of us. But of course, in the bigger scheme of things, very much meant to be, and, not surprising really.
Well, an interesting sidebar to that story is that you were meant to meet in college, and I believe that there are little signposts, and you guys tell me if this works for you as well. There are little signposts where you're supposed to meet people. As an example, the guy who got me into radio, I did not know, and then we just started having a relationship and started talking about stuff, and then he said we should do TV or radio. That got me into it. I haven't talked to him in 20 years. So he popped in and then he popped out. Is that kind of how it worked for you guys? You didn't make it on the first go around. So the universe conspired, if you will, to have you have a second bite at the apple, as it were, to meet. You think that's true?
Oh, I do. Absolutely. I honestly, Chel has been such a central figure in my life ever since that day that we sat behind the desk at the hotel and connected. And I cannot imagine me actually becoming who I was meant to become without her, because she's been really the constant in my life. I mean, we have seen each other through everything. We make a joke, we've seen each other through relationships and breakups and marriages and job changes and microbladed eyebrows and the whole thing. I cannot imagine my life if we had not had a second opportunity, to meet. And especially because once we had a proper conversation, it was a done deal, so that says to me that, it was always written in the stars.
One of the things that we always like to, well, we don't always like to talk about it, but it bears a weight in this conversation, is that do you think that you two knew each other on the other side before you got here, and you kind of conspired to say, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we do it this way? And then in the little drama that's going to be our lives and how they fold out, then we're going to meet this way, and then we're going to get together, and we're going to be together 25 years. Then we're going to work. We're going to have a retreat. We're going to do all of these really cool things. Do you think that was happening before you even got here?
Kara, I'll let you take that one.
Oh, well, it's so funny you say that, actually, Kevin. It's because we've said a version of that to each other, and when we sort of zoom out, both of us, and look at maybe our life path and our life purpose, because we've both done a lot of work around that, and do feel, both of us, that we are, on our path that we're supposed to be on. And it involves each other so much. And everything that has led me to this point, and everything that has led Chel to the point she's at, which is now dovetailing into our first retreat together, feels so synchronistic that it feels very much like, we held each other's hands doing the work, each of us, right, in our own ways, and having our own struggles and learning our own lessons. And while that will always be the case, now it feels like we are really coming together to do the work that we were always preparing for, if you will. And we're not exactly sure where that's going to lead, right? Because no one is, but it feels very aligned to be working together And I think the timing is, is perfect for both of us, and hopefully for the people that we work with.
Apparently, the universe conspires with me because, you see, I do 2 shows on Fridays. I do one at noon and I do one at 3. One on KKNW, one on KIXI. And apparently the universe conspires to bring kind of a common theme to the day, because in the first show we were talking about very similar concepts and ideas about, number one, how you receive messages and thoughts from the other side that kind of guide you along your way, and then in your case guided you to each other and also to the retreat. It doesn't matter what the future holds, because you know and you trust that the future is going to be bright and it's going to be successful regardless of what you do. At least that's what we talked about last time, Carolyn. And so apparently the theme of the day seems to be: listen to your heart, trust what it's telling you, and the people that walk into your life, they're there for a reason. Chel, does that make any sense?
Absolutely. That's how I live my life, with that as the main tenet.
There's a great quote that actually we heard when we were together at a weekend workshop. There's a woman who does a lot of teaching around oracle cards, and she has her own oracle card decks and everything. Her name is Colette Barron Reed. And she said in that workshop, what is for you will never go past you. What is for you will never go past you. And it hit both of us. And we remember it, you get a lot of information when you're at a weekend long class. And that was something that, we've brought up. And I have told a lot of my clients that, because it stuck with me so much. And I think what it does is it allows you to surrender a little bit to exactly what you're saying, Kevin, that magic, right? The power of something bigger. And kind of just trust that if something is meant for you, it's going to find you. And, our job is to be open to the possibility of receiving magic, essentially.
And asking for what you really want, and then paying attention and trusting that the universe, in the right time that it is intended for you, will provide it to you. Chel, is that have I said something good?
Of course. Yeah, that's a great way to say it. And I think a lot of people get worried that they're going to miss the signs, or that, the opportunity will pass, and perhaps that particular opportunity will pass, but then something new with the same type of energy will come into your life at the right time. And sometimes we get these gifts that are just dropped into our lap where you just can't say no. And I think maybe those are potential opportunities that maybe were initially something you might have had to work a little harder for, to align with, but then you've done the work and you've aligned with it, and then it's just dropped into your lap in a way that you can't refuse. And those are beautiful moments. That's the magic Caroline's talking about.
And so both of you now have got your own practices, and you've got your own websites. One is Insight and Illumination, and the other one is Clarity Wellness. And both are working as Reiki masters. What other forms, and I asked Caroline about this last time, so Chel, what other forms of energy modalities do you do these days?
Well, I do a thing called Root Cause. There's a lovely woman out of the UK named Tracy Stevens, who is offering a really informative 4-month-long course called the Root Cause. And basically, it is the symbology of the body, and the symbols that the body uses to tell us through pain and disease what is really happening in our bodies. So she teaches you a method of uncovering the unprocessed emotions that begin most pain and disease. Actually, not all pain and disease start that way, but the majority of pain and disease begin with unprocessed emotions. So she teaches you a way to guide clients into their pain, into their emotional pain, physical pain, and figure out what the sort of inner child belief was that then began limiting you and causing conditioning and pain around that, and then eventually becomes so chronically held that it can show up as pain and disease. Sometimes it's just discomfort. Sometimes you just have a heavy heart and you know that. Or maybe you have trouble speaking authentically or in public. And so these things can continue to manifest into maybe a thyroid issue or a heart condition. There are certain things like fibromyalgia or lupus that have an emotional component to it, and we're not taught that through Western medicine. So this program uses Eastern methodology because she came from an acupuncture background and an occupational therapist background, and she uses some energy components. And so it kind of pulls all those things together and helps you get to the root cause of emotional and physical pain. So I do that, which in and of itself, it's sort of like inner child healing. If I were to break it down into a few words, it's basically working with our inner children and beliefs that they began to form about themselves and how those limit us. And then in addition to that, I do something called Akashic record reading. So the Akasha is like a heavenly library, and everyone has a book, and that book is the journey of your soul and all of the lives you've lived and all the lessons you're meant to have. And you can actually read that book. You can get information. We're not meant to be in the dark about our soul's journey or our past lessons. And so you can have someone read for you, or you can learn to read for yourself. And basically, you can go into past lives that overlap lessons in your current life. You can ask questions about where you're going or the significance of something or about your future. I had one lady ask me who she was going to hire for a nanny. And I had a guy ask who was going to be his next teacher and what did she look like and what course did he need to take. And I've had people ask me, why was I so triggered in the Jewish museum and things like that. So you can ask all kinds of questions. It's really fascinating. I do that as well.
For those of you who are in the audience that may be saying to yourself, this is kind of weird. I've never heard of this kind of thing before. I want to point out a couple things. First of all, if I may, ladies, can I point a couple things out?
Please do, yes.
One of them is I interviewed a gentleman who's got a clinic in Virginia. His name is Dr. Ravi Ivar, and he was obviously had a clinic and a doctor during COVID. And we started talking about the spiritual nature of disease. And he also comes from an Eastern background, and he will tell you, in all the patients that he's talked to and all the years that he's worked, that that your emotional well-being and your energy plays a major part in the health of your body. And if your energy is stuck, and those are his words, if your energy is stuck, you can have all kinds of health issues generate from that. So what Chel is talking about isn't woo-woo nonsense stuff. This is actually based in science. It's based in reality. I would share with you the thought about the placebo effect. The placebo effect is half the group gets the drug, the other half gets the sugar pill, and oftentimes the results are the same because it's how the brain works. The other thing I would talk about would be, because I've done so many of these, Dolores Cannon, and others, Dr. Michael Newton and others talk about the Akashic records, and they talk about your book that is in heaven, that is continuing to update as you move and you grow, and you can go forward and backwards, and you can go talk to, and those things are, and these people are world-renowned hypnotherapists, have done thousands of readings with people, and so I firmly believe and know that what they're saying is true. So, Chel, what you're doing is not a woo-woo thing. It's actually based in science. I just wanted you to know that.
Yes, I am aware. And I actually also do sound healing, which is also based in science. There's
Yes,
a
it
ton
is.
of science that proves how our beliefs affect our our body, our mind, our spirit, and our health. And there are, Western doctors who have written books about how they have encountered this over and over again in their practice. There's a very famous one named Dr. Gabor Mate, who was in Western practice and then just kept finding that there was these common beliefs among people with certain conditions. And then he left that Western practice and went into this belief work, and he's got multiple books that are all bestsellers, and he's a genius. So there is science behind that. There is Western medicine behind that as well. And there is a ton of science behind frequency and quantum entanglement and all of the things that seem on the surface of woo-woo alternative holistic practices. It's actually the meat behind it that really is fascinating.
And we need to take a break. And we're only going to do one break today, Eric, because this is such a fascinating discussion again. But I just wanted to point out that if we go back 200 years and there are two men standing on a street corner, and one is saying, I had a dream about this black box and it had a knob on it. And when I turned the knob, it would turn on and it would play music for me out of this box that wasn't attached to anything. How is that even possible? 400 years ago, that guy might have been burned at the stake as a witch. 200 years ago, he might have been put in a home. Now, today, everybody has one of these in their car. It's called a radio. You can't see the transmission. You can't see the vibration, but it's there. And so I'm hopeful that Chel and Caroline, in 200 years, what you're talking about will be mainstream science that everybody's using for their health and wellness. Because I truly believe that that's coming. And call me weird, but I'm not. But this is all true. So we need to take a break, and when we come back, these two are putting together a retreat that I want everybody to know about. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio on KIXI. Good heavens.
Thank you to our dedicated fans. We are updating our live on-air schedule to make it super easy for you to hang out with us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and live on Fridays with KIXI 8:80 a.m. Seattle Live. You can find our library to binge all the podcast platforms. We can't wait to see you at 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, starting September 4th, Labor Day 2023.
Hello, everybody. If I could have your attention, please, I have an important announcement to make just for you. As you may know, PTR is heard and seen on radio, KKNW, and now KIXI, several websites, podcasts, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and most social media. At PTR, we believe in working together to make the world a better place, and because you're listening, we know that you're dedicated to the same. So we'd like to support your efforts by offering an outstanding multimedia package for you at a deeply discounted rate. As our partner, you'll receive commercial creation, both video and audio, at least 10 commercial plays per week, a monthly show to highlight your business and passion, exclusive website positioning with links, video shorts for social media, commercial plays on all shows, podcasts, KKNW, and KIXI. Your commercial is embedded into each episode and as a podcast is sent to over 50 different platforms. All shows are performed live and sent to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and stay there forever. Your podcast episodes are provided to you to use as you see fit. This one-time offer is only $250 a week, based on a 13-week commitment, and as our partner, we are vested in your success, and will do everything in our power to make it happen. However, there are limited spots available, so don't hesitate. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro, and let's get the ball rolling.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal. anaturaldesign.com at your fingertips today.
Hey there, I would personally like to thank you for making Positive Talk Radio part of your day. Whether you like podcasts or the radio show, we're glad to have you along. I'd love to hear from you with thoughts about the show and ways that we can make it even better. You are the reason we do these shows, because the more people we can touch, the better we can make the planet and our time here just magnificent. Please contact me, Kevin, at kmmedia.pro with any thoughts, comments, or suggestions. And thank you for being in my dream. And welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. My name is Kevin McDonald, and I've got two beautiful, lovely ladies here who are really talented at what they do. But before I do that, I got to do this because I'm told to. We've got, in addition on kmmedia.pro, we now have a digital magazine that features Northwest stories of artists and people and different aspects of life that you can go and you can download, and it's only it's free. So go ahead and download it for free, and you can listen to that. And also, and I'd love your guys' opinion on this, we have a pilot that is coming out that is a 25-minute video and for Bloom TV that KM Media is producing. And we can do this for anybody. And we're producing this 25-minute video, and it's going to be on Bloom TV, and hopefully it's going to turn into a series in conjunction with A Natural Design. So we're doing all of that, as well as 6 or 7 podcasts a week. We've got 630, 40, I don't know, a bunch of shows up, and they're all like this. They're all designed to help people. And these two people, they've given their life over to helping people live the best lives as they can. And one of those things that you're doing is creating community around an event that is coming up early next year. Would you like to talk about that? I know you would.
We would, yes, absolutely. So we have put together a women's wellness retreat in Charleston, South Carolina in 2024. It is a 3.5-day retreat from February 28th through March 3rd. And the name and theme of the retreat is called Embracing Embodiment. And so we will be talking about embodiment and all of the things that it means, and guiding women on a journey of self-discovery, of connecting in and going inward within their bodies to, see what might be stored there, to understand more about the connection with their body, and perhaps, release some long-held beliefs or stories that might be holding them back. So it's going to be beautiful, transformational, deep work. And I know myself, I've attended retreats that have been truly life-changing. And when you come to something like this, I think at the right time in your life, it can be truly transformational. And that's our intention for the retreat.
I have to say, I've been around other folks that have done retreats, and there is something magical about the results that happen within the framework of those 3.5 days that can truly be life-changing. You can develop friendships that literally will last a lifetime, and a whole new way of thinking about who you are and why you're here. Chel, is that a good commercial for that?
That's beautiful. Absolutely. You have a way with words. You should be in radio.
Someday maybe.
Keep trying, Kevin. Keep dreaming.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because at the end of one of those commercials, I say, "Thank you for being in my dream." You guys have no idea, but you're in my dream.
Oh.
And this is such an impactful program that you guys are working on, and the spirit that you bring to it, the energy you bring to your work. It really is exciting to have the opportunity to talk to people like you. And I thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity and the platform.
Well, I'm working to make it as a big a platform as I can. So please, everybody who's listening to the show, if you like it, tell your friends and family, please. It will suit them. It will do good for them, and it'll be a long-term process. I've interviewed people like Neil Donald Walsh and Gary Zukoff and John Edward and John Holland and so many that are really talented at what they do, including two gals that I don't know that you know yet. One's name is Caroline Paradis, and the other one is Chel, and they're sitting right here. And I want to, I think everybody, my job is to make everybody aware of you because you can help so many people, and you do it remotely as well. Is that true?
Yes, we do. Yes.
So all the way, you guys are back east, and all the way over here in little old Seattle, you can go to their websites, and you can do Zoom, and you can talk to them, and you can develop a relationship, and you may never ever get the chance to meet them until you get to Carolina or South Carolina, right?
South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina.
And then when you go there, you can have a great time, and your life. I truly tell you, your life will be different after that. It will be something else, and you can pretty much count on that because you guys are that good.
Well, and beyond what we're presenting, which has worked for us, we have personally worked through this material. It has been life-changing for us. So we're bringing you what has worked for us. We're also meeting in a group, and a group collective can help shift us much faster than our own individual work. And I think that we see, whenever we have a global issue and we come together and unite in intention and awareness, we can shift things in a major way. And it's the same in a retreat. That small group of women as a collective intention can support each other, but they can also shift faster than they can individually.
And that's because and one of the things that you guys will be doing is gathering together and telling stories about yourselves and about how things are, how you perceive them to be. And there are other people in the room that will listen without judgment, without telling you you're weird or anything like that, and then they will be able to provide insights to you because as the collective, as the energy kind of swirls around, I've been in groups like this, as the energy swirls around and it kind of uplifts everybody at the same time. Has that been your experience?
Absolutely. And we learn from each other. There's so many parallels in our healing journeys, regardless of the circumstances. And when you see that someone else is struggling with or dealing with the same thing as you, maybe in a different iteration, it validates your experience. It gives it credit and credence, and then it can help you release it to just feel witnessed and held.
How many people do you work with that say, oh, woe is me, nothing, this is happening to me and it's never happened to any other person in the history of the planet, and it's so much worse for me? How many people actually say that to you guys before you start working with them? Do a lot?
I don't know if anybody said that to me, but I think there's an inherent feeling of isolation or aloneness when we're dealing with stuff that's really hard, and when it takes up so much space in our lives, which it often does when it's something that's difficult, right? And so I think you almost, I'm not sure you even think about who else is dealing with it, because it's like, I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm just, trying to survive or feel better or figure things out or whatever it is that they're trying to do. And so there probably is a bit of an inherent sort of, nobody's got it worse than me kind of thing, because I think when things happen to us, it is the world. It is our world, right? And so I think, to Chel's point, when we connect with other people and we hear their stories, we inherently feel less alone, because we realize that that it's something that other people have navigated and been through. And I think you immediately feel supported because somebody understands. And even though, the situations may be different, somebody understands. And I think ultimately we all just want to be seen and understood. And so that's also the power of a group, especially with the intention of hearing stories and allowing people to discover and share in a very safe, sacred space, which will obviously be the intention that we'll have in our group setting.
There's nothing more impactful than telling a story that you may not have ever told anybody in the world because you think you don't want to be embarrassed. You're scared of what their response is going to be. And you find yourself, it's happened to me, find yourself telling this story to a bunch of virtual strangers, but you've all set the intention of listening and understanding. And then lo and behold, every eye that you make contact with is suddenly nodding their head and giving you sympathy and telling you without saying a thing, telling you what you can do. And then it's a magical experience. It really is, because we need each other and we inherently care for and love each other, I think.
Yes. And what it can also do is it can offer aha moments.
Yes.
Because I've seen, when I teach Reiki classes, it's always in a group setting. And I've seen many, many times somebody sharing something, a concern or an issue or something that they've experienced. And as it is shared in the group and the group provides supportive feedback, you start to see connections being made. And sometimes what someone has said is an aha for someone else. And it's like, I never put that together. I never put 2 and 2 together until you just said that. And so it also provides opportunity for discovery and connecting the dots for yourself. Whereas when we're processing everything ourselves, or maybe with one person, like our therapist or something, or a partner, we don't have that opportunity to get different perspectives or to have the group setting to piece it together in that way.
Chel, do you find that when you're talking to people in a group setting like that, it's just like this conversation actually is energizing me? Do you find that the energy in the room raises up, and it actually it raises everybody's vibration and energy, and they feel much better at the end of the session than at the beginning of the session? Has that been your experience?
Absolutely. I think that healing can be done over a long period of time, and it can also be done instantaneously. And I see such a difference in every single one of my clients from the beginning of the session to the end of the session. And in our retreat, we're offering so many modalities. So what may work for one person may not work for another, but there's so many different opportunities to explore things that maybe you haven't explored, to begin to find things that work for you. And so we've got yoga, which is an embodiment practice of really being, you can do yoga and stretch, but you can also do yoga where you are really present to listening to the signals of your body. And that is how we intend to begin our yoga practices. We have sound healing and energy healing combined. Caroline and I will both be offering Reiki during a sound healing where we have a local practitioner doing the sound. That'll be on a rooftop, our exclusive rooftop for the hotel. And so I think that's going to be a really magical experience to be outside, looking at the sky, supported by nature, listening to sound that is healing our vibrations and our frequencies, and receiving energy work at the same time. In addition to that, we'll be teaching a lot of really interesting concepts that you may or may not know much about, which is about the energy and emotions and energetics of the body, and how to begin to piece together that symbolism that I was talking about earlier, and looking at your own body and the symbols that each of our bodies send us, and helping understand it in a deeper way, beginning to create a real deep and intimate connection with our bodies, beginning to love our bodies, but also looking at the journey that we've taken with our bodies. What words have we used to our bodies throughout the course of our lives. And how can we change that now in a more loving and compassionate and understanding way? And then we're going to present concepts to you about what your body actually has been doing for you, which is holding your memories, your trauma, and your conditioning and your beliefs your whole life until you're actually ready to begin to look at them and unravel them. And so when you look at the body like that, it's actually this amazing, loving partner. And so no matter what your story has been with the way your body looks or the way your body functions, when you start to see it from that vantage point, you have to begin to love it differently and to get into a deeper relationship with it. So we'll be presenting that information. We'll be doing womb healing for women because this is a women's retreat. We all have wombs, or we've all at least had a womb at some point, and we hold quite a lot in our womb space. You would be really surprised at whether you've had children or not had children. Our womb space is where we connect to our partners, our loved ones. It's where we hold things that are overwhelming to the heart. Women and people in general, but definitely women, when something is overwhelming our heart, we push it down into our pelvis, into our womb space, because it's just this bowl that can hold things. So it will hold memories that maybe you've never thought about again since it happened, but it's holding something for you that actually is the key to unlocking something that is keeping you from expanding into your highest self.
That's really interesting. We don't have those on this side of the aisle, but so I'm not going to even go there. But I wanted to ask you, the yoga class. Some of us are a lot less bendable than we used to. Can we still go to the yoga class?
Absolutely. It's for all levels of yoga. It's not, this is not a fitness practice. We're not trying to have our bodies look a certain way or perform a certain type of pose. What we're actually trying to do is just be really present with our body and how it feels in that moment. And we're beginning each day with it. So it may need a lot of stretching. It may be a little creaky. It may not be able to do what your neighbor's body can do. And that's okay. And that's
You-
the entire message of this retreat. Whatever your body is doing is okay. And it's meant for you, and it's got messages for you, and it wants to be in deeper relationship with you. And let's just take some time, drop in and listen to what it has to say.
That's my middle name, Kevin Creaky McDonald, because my bones are creaky at this point in time. But I also wanted to compliment the two of you in working with women and their bodies and body image and that sort of thing, because I've lived on this planet for 66 years and I've never had anybody whistle at me or tell me anything about my body, good or bad. But that is a very common experience for half of the population who just happens to be female. And it is great that you're going to be working with women to understand some of that and to overcome those body images that have been impressed upon them by people who may have meant good things or a nice thing, but it didn't come out that way or whatever. So it's important because body image for women is very important, right?
It really is. I think it's certainly a journey that every woman takes, and it's different for everyone. It's been a huge part of my embodiment journey has been body image, body dysmorphia, which is essentially not seeing your body the way that it actually is, right sized. And I mean, you're absolutely right, Kevin, in that we get a lot of unsolicited comments about our bodies. I think every woman does, but also, we're born into a society that has expectations, and that, there's a lot of unconscious bias, in terms of what your body looks like, what your face looks like. And so, we will definitely be talking about body image. But the great thing is that this retreat is about embodiment, and it's certainly not limited to that. When I think about embodiment, a lot of it for me has been a journey of just learning how to be present in my body at any given moment, instead of allowing my mind to exist outside of my body. And the way that it exists outside of my body is if I'm thinking about the future, right? If I'm having a conversation with you, but in my mind, I'm thinking about what I have to do, tomorrow or next week, then I'm really not present in my body. Or if I'm thinking about, what's happened in the past. And so many of us, I really believe that so many of us don't even realize how often we are not present inside of our own bodies. And the issue with that is that we then don't have access to the joy that is right in front of us. Because in order to experience joy as it's happening, you have to be present in your body to experience it. And so a perfect example would be, I was the person who would go on vacation, and 2 days before the vacation was over, I was already thinking about having to go back to work. And so literally those 2 days, I was not in my body, in my mind, I wasn't present with what I was doing. And I lost 2 days of vacation. I gave my joy away. Same thing would happen to me every Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon, when I would think about going back to work. And so that's also been a very long journey for me. But that's a piece of embodiment that is beyond the body image piece. And in addition to all of the things that Chel explained, in terms of, really connecting in with what our body is storing and holding and what it's doing for us energetically, it's also about just the simple act of accepting the good things in our lives as they're happening and not giving those moments away.
Isn't it amazing that a lot of us, I'd say most of us, begin our work week? We say, well, we go to work on Monday. That's not true. You actually go to work about 6:00 on Sunday night. And now you're thinking about everything that's going to have you got to do next week and that. And rather than enjoy, so you lose half a Sunday. And
Exactly.
there's no reason for that. Other than, but I want to do this, and then I'm going to turn the show over to you two. I have a challenge for everybody. If you're listening to this show right now, this is what I want you to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, I want you to set your alarm clock for 5 minutes earlier than you normally do. Just 5 minutes. I want you to get ready, do your morning routine, get everything ready to go. And then what I want you to do is to walk outside your door and stop. I want you to smell the world around you. I want you to hear the birds, see the flowers, see everything that's there, and just be quiet and just be one with everything that's around you. You will find that it will change your day, might change your week. And if you do this every day, it will make your day, in my opinion, I'm doing this more and more all the time, it'll make your day that much better. And it'll make the day around you, the people around you, your loved ones, they'll notice a difference in you. So do try it. I think it'll work. What do you guys think of that? Is that good advice?
I love it.
Yeah,
I think
great.
it's fantastic. Yeah. And, it's a really good piece of advice, because really one of the fastest and most efficient ways to bring yourself back into your body is to go through your senses, just like that. What do I smell? What do I see? What do I see in terms of texture and color? Even when you're driving, right? Sometimes when we're driving, we're thinking about the to-do list, or the laundry list of things, or something somebody said to us. And instead, what would happen if you just felt the steering wheel between your hands, and you felt the seat cushion underneath you supporting you, and you could go through each of your senses like that. It brings you into the now. And it also can be very helpful with anxiety, because so much anxiety can come from when we're projecting what's going to happen in the future. So that's a really great exercise, Kevin, I think, that you suggested.
Well, thank you. And I hope everybody does it. And that's your challenge, ladies and gentlemen. We've got less than a minute. I want, Chel, let's start with you. Get your information out so people can find you.
You can find me at insightandillumination.com. And I have Zoom sessions available. I have in-person sessions available. And I will be at this retreat in February in Charleston with Caroline. I hope to see you there.
Caroline?
ClaritySouthCoast.com is where you can find me. And I am really hoping that if this message resonates with anyone, that they look into the retreat. Chel and I both have retreat information on our websites. And it's a great excuse to explore the beautiful city of Charleston and to do something really beautiful for yourself as well.
And I would like to thank everybody for listening today on KIXI. We do this every Friday. We do KKNW on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So look us up on KKNW's website or KIXI's, and we'll be there. I want to thank my guests today. Chel and Caroline have been nothing short of magnificent. And I thank you for being here.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank
Kevin.
you. We're just trying to follow your lead.
It's pretty easy, actually. So in any event, I want to thank everybody. And by the way, remember this. Be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. We'll see you on Monday.